3 months after his father died, Daniel finally opened the garage. He had been avoiding it, not because there was anything valuable inside, but because the garage still smelled like him. Motor oil, old wood, coffee that had gone cold hours ago. For most people, it was just a messy garage. For Daniel, it felt like a room full of unfinished conversations. He stood in the doorway for a long moment. The same workbench, the same tools on the wall, the same small radio his father used to play every evening. Nothing had moved since the day his father died. Daniel stepped inside slowly. Dust moved in the sunlight from the small window above the bench. His father had spent half his life here, fixing things. Engines, broken tools, neighbors' cars. Everything except the one thing Daniel had always wished he could fix: their relationship. Growing up, Daniel believed one simple thing about his father. He didn't care. Not really. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't angry. He was just distant, like someone living in the same house but in a different world. When Daniel was 8 years old, he built a small wooden airplane in school. The teacher told every child to bring it home and show their parents. Daniel carried it carefully the whole way home. He walked straight into the garage. His father was under the hood of a car. "Dad, look what I made!" His father glanced at it for barely 2 seconds. "That's nice." Then the wrench turned again. Metal clanked. The engine coughed. Conversation over. Daniel stood there another few seconds, waiting, but his father never looked up again. So Daniel quietly placed the airplane on the workbench and went inside. A week later, he found it in the trash. Maybe it broke. Maybe his father threw it away. Daniel never asked. Years passed like that. Small moments, small disappointments. When Daniel was 10, he asked his father to come to his school play. His father nodded while tightening bolts on an engine. "I'll try." Daniel didn't fully understand what that meant yet, but he learned. The night of the play, Daniel kept looking at the door of the auditorium. Every time it opened, he hoped. Maybe his father had made it. Maybe he was just late. But the door closed again and again. Different parents, different faces, never his. After the play, the other kids ran into their parents' arms. Daniel walked alone home. When he entered the house, his father was sitting at the kitchen table, a half-finished sandwich in front of him. "How was it?" his father asked. "Good." That was the entire conversation. Another memory added to the quiet distance between them. When Daniel was 16, he scored the winning goal in the regional soccer final. The stadium erupted. His teammates were lifted onto shoulders. Parents rushed down from the stands. Daniel looked for his father. He wasn't there. Later that night, his father said only 2 words: "Good game." Then he walked out to the garage. Daniel watched the door close behind him. That was the moment something inside him changed. He stopped expecting things. By the time he left for college, their relationship had become almost mechanical. "How's school?" "Fine." "You need money?" "No." "All right." They lived in the same house for 18 years, but sometimes Daniel felt like they barely knew each other. When his father died suddenly from a heart attack, the funeral was crowded. Neighbors, old customers, people Daniel had never seen before. They all told stories. "He fixed my car for free when I lost my job. He repaired my roof during the storm. He stayed up all night fixing the school bus so the kids could get to school." Daniel nodded politely, but inside a bitter thought kept repeating. If his father had time for everyone else, why not him? After the funeral, Daniel closed the garage door, and for 3 months, he never opened it. Until today. He started sorting through shelves, old parts, boxes of screws, worn gloves, receipts from 20 years ago. The workbench looked exactly the same. Coffee stains, oil marks, small scratches carved by years of work. Then he noticed a metal toolbox under the bench. Daniel pulled it out.
Inside were the usual things: wrenches, screwdrivers, a tape measure. But underneath them was something strange, a small envelope, slightly yellow with age. His name was written on the front. Daniel, his father's handwriting. Daniel slowly sat down on the cold concrete floor. His heart started beating faster. Why was this here? Why had his father hidden it? And why had he never given it to him? Daniel turned the envelope over, still sealed. For a long moment, he just stared at it. Part of him almost didn't want to know. But finally, he opened it. The paper inside was folded twice. The handwriting looked slower than usual, careful, almost hesitant. Daniel began reading.
Daniel, if you're reading this, it means I never found the right moment to say these things. Talking was never my strength. Fixing things was. Engines made sense to me. People were harder. Daniel paused. Already, this was more honesty than he had heard from his father in 20 years. He kept reading. When you were born, I promised myself one thing, that you would have a better life than I did. My father believed in one rule: work first, everything else later. I told myself I would not become him, but somewhere along the way, I did. Daniel felt a pressure in his chest. He kept reading. When you asked me to come to your school play, I wanted to go, but the shop was behind on orders. I told myself missing one play wouldn't matter. When you won your soccer final, I was fixing Mrs. Carter's car so she could get to work. I told myself there would be another game. Life has a strange way of convincing you that important moments can wait, until suddenly they can't. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. All those years of silence suddenly felt different. He continued. You probably grew up thinking I didn't care. The truth is, I cared more than I knew how to show. Every extra hour I worked was for you. College, opportunities, a life that would be easier than mine. But the older I got, the more I realized something. I spent so much time building your future that I forgot to be part of your present. A tear rolled down Daniel's cheek. He barely noticed. If I could go back, I would do one thing differently. I would close the shop earlier, leave the engine unfinished, sit in the audience, and clap louder than anyone else. But life only moves forward. If you ever have children one day, remember this. They will forget most of the things you buy them, but they will never forget whether you were there. I hope one day you understand. Dad. The garage was completely silent. Daniel sat there for a long time, the letter trembling slightly in his hands. For most of his life, he had believed one simple story. His father didn't care. But sitting on that cold garage floor, Daniel realized something painful. The story had been wrong. His father had cared deeply. He had simply loved him in the only language he knew: work, sacrifice, responsibility. But sometimes the hardest truth about love is this: love that is never shown can look exactly like love that was never there. Daniel slowly folded the letter. He looked around the garage again, the tools, the bench, the long nights his father must have spent here, not hiding from his family, trying to build something for them. Daniel stood up and walked toward the door. Then he stopped. For a moment, he imagined a different past: a school play with his father in the audience, a soccer game with his father cheering in the stands, a childhood with fewer quiet rooms between them. But life doesn't offer rewrites, only understanding. Daniel placed the letter carefully back in the toolbox, not hidden, just safe. And as he turned off the light, one thought stayed with him. Some lessons arrive too late for the people who needed them most, but just in time for the people who come after.